The soil was cracked. One by one, the corn stalks toppled over. The roots of the tomato seedlings lifted into the air like broken fingers reaching for help. On the morning after an overnight invasion, the field was no longer farmland. It was a battlefield. Footprints mingled in the mud, claw marks gouged the earth, and the smell of trampled vegetation still lingered. Such widespread destruction could have been caused by a planned attack, not just an act of nature. In the darkness of the night, the landscape had borne the marks of a ravenous, savage force moving silently, leaving nothing behind but chaos. The wild boars had returned. This attack was the biggest threat we had faced in recent days. In just a single night, tens of kilos of crops were wiped out, fences torn to the ground, irrigation hoses ripped to shreds like paper. At dawn, the perimeter of our farm was once again on high alert. It was no longer about agriculture, it was about survival. Every farmer in these lands knew that living close to the wilderness meant fighting a war without end. And this was our war, a silent war. A war we did not intend to leave unfinished. It was only 5:40 in the morning. The horizon was still gray, the sky undecided whether it would brighten or stay heavy with clouds. Birds greeted the new day timidly, as if even they feared what lurked in the undergrowth. We had already completed our preparations. Thermal scopes, rifles with silencers, TVs, GPS trackers, and of course, our loyal dogs trained, fearless, restless. Everything was in place. Our mission was clear. Track down the wild boars before they could strike again. We set off in silence. As we drove into the forest, pine branches whipped across our faces, and the tires left deep tracks in the wet soil. The only sound, apart from a faint hiss from the radio, was the steady rhythm of our hearts. This was not a matter of reflex. Every step, every breath, every aim required precision. This hunt was not an ordinary task. It was a challenge, a battle of endurance and wit against one of nature's toughest adversaries. We found the first tracks after about an hour of walking. Broken branches, fresh feces, the earth freshly torn apart. It had all just happened. The dogs picked it up immediately. Their ears shot up, noses pressed against the damp soil, tails stiff with tension. They knew the prey was close. We slowed down. The forest fell silent, as if holding its breath with us. Then, a snap. A rustle. A low hum. Suddenly movement. A wild boar, almost the size of a tractor, burst into view. For a second, we locked eyes and time froze. I raised my rifle. The target was squarely in my scope. I held my breath, squeezed the trigger. The sound was muffled, but the impact was unmistakable. The giant staggered, feathers of mud and fur flying, tried to run, but collapsed after a few meters. The dogs lunged forward, but we pulled them back. Discipline first. The kill was clean. The first encounter of the day, and far from the last dog, because deep in the forest, dozens more were waiting. Maybe hundreds. Adrenaline coursed through our veins. Hands trembled, not from fear, but from the sheer power of the moment. This was not just a hunt. This was a struggle to protect our land, our labor, our lives. And we were not alone. Later in the day, standing on a ridge, we spotted dark shapes moving across an open field below. 2 large boars, followed by 6 restless piglets. They rooted, dug, tore at the earth in search of food. The opportunity was too good to miss. The team spread out. I approached from the right flank while the others circled wide, positioning themselves with the wind in our favor. Silence, patience, control. I steadied my breathing, waited, and then opportunity. 1, 2, 3 shots. A pig went down instantly. The second bolted, but the circle had tightened. One of the dogs gave chase, sprinting across the undergrowth. We redirected, cutting off escape. Within minutes, another target fell. The sun climbed higher. its rays piercing through the trees, illuminating the sweat on our brows. The smell of pine and soil mixed with gunpowder. Satisfaction spread across our faces, but we knew this was not the end. The forest still carried tension in its silence. With every kill, the danger grew sharper.
If you'll enjoy this video, please like and subscribe my channel for more information.